We are delighted to have you here with us today, joining either as a speaker, as a coach, or as a participant, looking into finding ways of innovating on farmer extension services. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now so that we can see each other, because we have a really vast audience, and we should celebrate that. It's wonderful to have people from all over the world joining us today. My name is Maria Soledad Riestra. You can call me Sole. I'm the training and learning advisor for the FACS team, Food and Agriculture Commodity Systems team at UNDP. And I'm here with an amazing group of colleagues that have been working hard in putting together this workshop and making themselves available and make their expertise and knowledge available to us all today to guide us through this innovation process. So as I said, please make sure that you change your Zoom name to your name, organization, and location so that we can use that information as we go. Also, if you can let your video on to the extent that it's possible, that would be fantastic, because it is a highly interactive session. So we are going to engage into conversations and participate throughout the day. Excellent. So I'm going to start walking us through what the next 3 days are going to look like, and why we're here today. Hopefully everyone can see my screen. Yeah, excellent.
Yes. Yeah.
So why are we calling this a problem-solving workshop? Well, clearly because there are things that we need to solve, but actually because we want to highlight that the idea of these 2.5 hour sessions is to create a space where we can pause, remove ourselves from the business as usual, and really engage with colleagues from around the world to think differently about, in this case, farmer extension services and the challenges that we face, and how can we approach solutions in a different way. Not only from the perspective of having significant conversations and networking and exchanging, but also how do we bring methodology to that? And how can we take that methodology, once we've experimented it, how can we take it further and use it potentially as a tool in our own countries, in our own projects, to also foster innovation in other areas of our work. So how did we come up with this idea? Well, as you know, this is a very widely spread and used quote from Einstein, which says that we can't solve problems by the same thinking that created them. And when, as part of the FOLUR Global Platform support, we were thinking of how can we best serve our country teams and the work that needs to be done under FOLUR in relation to farmer extension services. We posed this question of how can we enable the capacity to think differently about farmer extension services challenges in our country teams and also in our key stakeholders. And so we engaged in this process of designing an intervention that would combine the technical expertise that we have across the teams and across the countries on farmer extension services, farmer support systems processes, with innovative methodologies like hackathons, design thinking, collaborative innovation, and bringing also experiential learning, prototyping, application to real life situations, so that we can engage in a very practical space and not just deliver presentations or PowerPoint or a sort of passive content download. And in this combination, working with Systems Mapping Academy, which are our facilitators and designers, co-designers of this session today, we came up with this problem-solving workshop and this space. So what to expect? Hopefully in inspiration. We had already a session, one cohort that we ran in the past couple of months. And one of the key highlights from participants was how they came out of it really, truly inspired by the energy and the knowledge and the capacity of collective thinking that goes beyond, what we can achieve individually. What to expect, as I said, interactive sessions, hopefully fun as well, personal learning, to steer a bit of innovative thinking, to gain capacity to think differently, a new method that you can replicate. And all of this that we're putting together is open, and we're happy to share it. It's open source, basically, for all of you to take. And one key thing that I want to highlight is that this whole process, it's much more about the learning journey and less about the outcome. So we're not expecting to come out of this 3 days with a super refined solution to a complex challenge or the vast number of complex challenges on farmer extension services, but rather to gain the learning of walking through that journey of thinking differently and innovatively about how to approach them, and hopefully bring that to our day-to-day and back to our work. Some participation commitment. The thing about interactive sessions is that it does require everyone to participate in some sort of way, and so the quality of it is a collective and shared responsibility. So we do ask you to bear in mind that the 3 sessions that are happening are related to each other. We are going to split into groups, and the progression of the group work will require people to attend and participate in all 3 sessions. Of course, if there's any particular urgency or something that takes place, please do let us know. But ideally, if we can have you all here joining us for the 3 sessions, that would be fantastic. And as I said, the sessions are interactive. Most of the sessions, we are going to spend them in group work. You are going to be split into groups, and you're going to have designated coaches that are going to help you navigate through the different steps and methodology. So yeah, having your audio on, your camera on would be really helpful. And we are going to group you based on the most voted challenges. So we are taking into consideration the votes that you provided during the registration. But, for the purposes of organizing this as easily as possible, we are going to split the group into, we're going to give you the chance to choose one of those challenges and try to be true to that as much as possible, with some level of flexibility to make sure that we have even numbers and groups and so on. After the session, you will receive all the materials and guidance on how to use this methodology. And of course, we are available to support you if you have any questions. I'm going to pass it on to Lavinia, who's been really deeply involved in the support that we are providing to the FOLUR project as part of the global platform, and she's going to explain a bit more the context of how this workshop connects to this wider initiative. So thank you, Lavi, over to you.
Thank you, Sole. Hi, everyone, and welcome to those who joined while Sole was presenting. My name is Lavinia. I'm also part of the UNDP Food and Agricultural Commodity System team, the FACS team, and I'm based in Panama. As Sole was saying, this slide and next one are mostly to provide a bit of background of context of where these problem-solving workshops are coming from. So as you can see in this slide, we are referring to the FOLUR program, which is the Food System Land Use and Restoration Impact Program, led by the World Bank and funded by the Global Environment Facility. FOLUR consists of a global platform that provides support to 27 country projects, and the Good Growth Partnership, GGP, that you can see mentioned here, and also the logo on the top right, is one of the partners of the FOLUR global platform and is led by the United Nations Development Programme. So as part of our work under the FOLUR global platform, we provide support to FOLUR Country Project in their efforts to strengthen farmer extension services system and also find, and also find a solution to identify challenges affecting those extension services. And we do so in a twofold manner. So the first part is providing training on a UNDP tool, which is the Farmer Support System Toolkit that you see mentioned in this slide. And the other one is what we are focusing on today, which is the provision of problem-solving workshop for farmer extension services. And these activities are open to all FOLUR country teams and relevant stakeholders, and obviously, since we are delivering them to our community of practice, the Food and Agricultural Commodity System community, they are open also to all the practitioners that are members of our community of practice. These problem-solving workshops are delivered by our UNDP team in collaboration with Conservation International, which is one of our partners under the Good Growth Partnership. And we started providing this support earlier this year with some sessions on the UNDP Farmer Support System Toolkit. And this is the second problem-solving workshop that we are facilitating this year after the first one that we had earlier in June. Next slide, please. Thank you. So what is the problem-solving workshop? As Sole was referring to before, this is a virtual workshop to help FOLUR and beyond practitioners to identify innovative solutions to selected challenges that might be affecting their farmer extension services. The workshops are designed in a participatory manner, and we aim at promoting creative thinking and innovation. Just to provide a brief context on how we arrived until this point. So first of all, we started with a desk research on the FOLUR Country Project document. So we did a desk research through these documents to look at what are the challenges that are mentioned there as affecting the farmer extension services of the 27 FOLUR Country Project. Then, as Maria Soledad was referring to, we started co-developing a methodology together with our colleagues from the System Mapping Academy, Fabian and Gian, that you will hear more in a minute. And we also promoted a participatory process through the registration to the workshop for voting for the challenges that you felt as the most relevant to your context. And finally, what we're starting to do it today and for the next 2 days, we facilitate this problem-solving workshop, hopefully to get new insight and ideas on how to strengthen farmer extension services. And this is, in this slide, you can see everyone that has been involved so far and is involved during these 3 days. I'm going quickly through all of the names, but yeah, you will hear more from Fabian and Gian in a while on the presentation and from the speakers and the coaches this morning and in the next days. Fabian and Gian, so you can see the first name starting from the top left. They are from the System Mapping Academy, and we co-developed this problem-solving methodology with them. Maria Soledad, Sole, you just heard from her with the first part of this presentation. Myself, Valeria, who couldn't be on the delivery today, but she's joining us soon. Leif and Elliot, Leif Pedersen, Senior Commodities Advisor for UNDP, and Elliot Powell recently joined Conservation International as the technical director for the work on sustainable coffee, together with Janaina Tanuri and Cristiano Menezes from the Brazilian Agricultural Research Corporation will be providing some will be delivering some brief speeches today to hopefully inspire you on for farmer extension services and innovation. And James Leslie, technical advisor for ecosystem and climate change at UNDP. Sandra Andraka, which is part of our UNDP Food and Agricultural Commodity System team working with our community of practice. Patricia Christianson, Senior Gender, Forest, Landscape and Agricultural System Specialist at the World Bank, will be also supporting US coaches for today and the next 2 days, guiding you while working in breakout groups, together also with Elliot, Janaina, and Cristiano. And finally, huge thank to Carlotta Rillo from our Food and Agricultural Commodity System Community of Practice, which is providing all the technical support to make this Zoom work. Thank you for to all of you for all the support, and of course to all the participants. And over to Fabian, please.
Fabian, would you like to go through the 3 workshop days, or shall I continue?
I can also do it. Yep.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, over to you then. And if you can also kindly introduce yourself, that would be great. Thank you.
Yes, as Lavinia also already introduced us, I'm Fabian from the System Mapping Academy here in Berlin. And yeah, we try to support organizations in thinking more systemically, but also in creating innovation. And so we had the chance to support here in creation of the methodology. And yeah, especially with this setup we have today and with the 3-day workshop we are coming, basically we are focusing on finding a balance between learning a new methodology, but also applying it to a real challenge, which ideally supports you also in your day-to-day life and brings you new inspiration and new thoughts to yeah, which you can take away basically from here. So the first day, which is today, we are starting with framing and analyzing. So soon we will introduce the challenges where we want to work on, and then you can choose the challenge you want to continue with. And today it's about looking at this challenge, discussing it in the team. So as we already heard, we have a really diverse team from very diverse countries and also organizations. So we hope that these discussions are really beautiful and interesting for you. So this is really about discussing the challenge, getting to know the team, but also starting to analyze the challenge. So most of these challenges are quite big ones. So there are complex challenges, and we try to use some methodologies which I introduce later on to boil down, to really get into the challenge and to boil down things which are in there which we might can address in the frame of this workshop. So today it's everything about understanding. Tomorrow then, based on this understanding we created today, we want to start to understand the target group a bit better. So there are a lot of actors, of course, in each of these challenges in this context. And we want to create a brainstorming with new ideas with the brainstorming. And also for that, we brought together inspiration from other projects which you might be inspired by. And the third day we will work on developing the idea further. So basically that the idea not only stays on a digital post-it, we want to create a bit more detailed idea and then also share the outcomes. So this is also really important for us, that there is an ongoing sharing in the teams, but also in the plenary where we are now, so that everyone sees what the others are created have created during the 3 days. And we will have a short presentation of each team on day 3. And this is also on day 1 and day 2, we will also have speakers which share their knowledge and their inspiration also in terms of farmer extension services, how they work in the field, and we will have different spotlights on that. Yeah, so you can be excited about the inspirational talks, which will start later on. Yes, and to give you a short idea what happens today. So we are now in the welcome and introduction phase still. Soon we will get to know the challenges, and you can choose the challenges, and then we jump right away into getting to know the teams. So you will get to know who you will work with throughout the next 3 days. So the teams will stay throughout the whole workshop phase. And then we will have the inspirational talk, as I just introduced, a short break, and then we will go into the analyzing of the challenge and have a short reflection in the end. So I think we have put together hopefully exciting 2.5 hours for you today. And yeah, with that, I would say, let's have a look at the challenges and yeah, get a deeper insight into what we want to work on. And with that, I will hand over to Sole.
Thank you very much. And so now that we are having everyone joined our session, we have around 40 people, which is an amazing attendance. It would be great to see who is in the room. And unfortunately, we don't have the time to listen to each person, but you will have the chance to introduce yourself more in detail within your groups. What we would want to know is if you can share on the chat, again, you know, your name and where you're joining from, so that we can have a sense of where people are located. And in the past session, we had participants from all over the world. And for this session, we have participants registering from over 30 countries, which is pretty amazing. So if you can just share on the chat your name and where you're joining us from, and also what time of the day it is, so that we are aware of where your energy levels might be right now and in the next couple of hours. If you're more on the tea, coffee side, or getting closer to dinner time. I'm going to share as well. Excellent. So we have Uganda, Panama, morning, afternoon, evening, very early morning in Costa Rica, France, but originally from Australia. Hi, Meg. Lovely to see you here today. Congo, Paraguay, wonderful neighbors. Colombia, Ecuador, Uganda, Copenhagen, Buenos Aires, Portugal, Morocco, where else do we have? Uganda, Thailand, UK, Peru, fantastic. Cairo, wow, amazing. So many different, Benin, Cameroon, USA, and Nigeria. Very impressive. So keep it coming if you haven't been able to share yet. Would be great to map all of this And I'm sure Sandra actually shared an amazing tool the past couple of weeks for using an interactive map. So we might get into that to capture where we're all coming from. So I'm going to hand it over to Lavinia to introduce the challenges, and we're going to move into selecting which challenge you want to work on, and Fabian and Gian will help us organize the teams. So yeah, over to you, Lavi.
Thank you again, Sole. And yeah, so this is just to provide our context on what I was referring to before. So the first step that we carry out to prepare for the actual delivery of the problem-solving workshop, as I said, was to carry out a desk research on the FOLUR Country Project documents. So we went through the documents to look at what are the challenges that are mentioned in those documents as affecting farmer extension services in those countries. We gather different kind of challenges, and then to have them like organized and a bit structured, we map them against this framework that you can see in this slide, which is a framework provided by the UNDP tool that I was referring to before, the Farmer Support System Toolkit, which divide the different, so we divided the different challenges into these 5 categories. The first one being related to enabling environment, the second one on organizational and management capacity, third one on advisory methods, fourth on budgeting and financing, and finally monitoring and evaluation and learning. And so we came up with 13 different types of challenges. And a disclaimer, we are well aware that this is not a comprehensive overview of all the kind of challenges that might be affecting extension services. As I was saying, this is just what came out of a desk research from the Food System, Land Use and Restoration Impact Program project documents. And of course, there can be others which can also be more specific to certain context, but these are like the general ones that came out of our desk research. And out of these 13, you were asked to select one when registering to this problem-solving workshop. So as part of the Zoom registration link, you had to select just one out of these 13, based on whether the one that was most relevant to your context and your work. And so if you go to the next slide, please. And we look at all the responses from you and all those that registered to the problem-solving workshop today. And those on the right column are the 3 most voted challenges. So I'm going through each one of them in a minute. So out of those 13, each registrant selected one, and these were the ones that got the most voting. So just going into more details for the first challenge is related to low capacity and coordination of extension service providers. So as you can read in this slide, most countries actually implement pluralistic models for the provision of extension services, meaning that both public and private organizations are providing extension system, but the capacity of this institution can be limited due to several reasons, such as understaffing, limited budget, difficulty in reaching farmers, lack of adequate inputs or technology, and also what is mentioned in the project documents that we analyzed is also a lack of coordination amongst the extension providers. So the services end up being provided in an uncoordinated manner, and there is a lack of synergies and efficiencies. So this is the focus of the first one. I repeat again, low capacity and low coordination for public and private extension providers. The next challenge, back, sorry, please. Challenge number 2. Back, yes. Thank you. Is related to an efficient knowledge management system, meaning that even when the extension providers share their knowledge and the practices to the farmers and to the producers, then there is an absence of adequate knowledge management platform, which results in farmers and service providers and farmers operating mostly in silos and unable to share this knowledge, this learning, and the best practices that they received. Meaning that the knowledge, even when shared and when received by the farmers, end up being ineffective because it cannot leverage on pre-existing know-how and practices that indeed may lack evidence-based sources. So the focus of the second challenge is on ineffective or non-existing knowledge management platform and system to share this kind of knowledge. And the third and last one of the most voted challenges refer to unavailability or insufficient funding, especially related to public funding available for extension services. Indeed, the financial insecurity is one of the major challenges for extension services. In most countries, we have witnessed a continuous decline of especially public budget allocated to extension services. And of course, extension system to be effective and to adequately reach farmers need a government's ongoing commitment and effective and prolonged financing. So the third challenge is mainly related to insufficient funding, especially coming from the public sector. And in the next slide, you can see again the three challenges. And we now kindly ask you to write down in the chat on which challenge you would like to focus. So just as I recall, you're going to work in groups today, tomorrow, and on Thursday, and you're going to focus on one of these challenges. So in order to prepare the grouping, we would like to ask you to share which one of these three challenges you'd like to focus on. So you can just share the challenge, the number, as Ibrahim, many thanks, or just did in the chat. So Ibrahim, for instance, would like to focus on challenge number 2. And we're going to provide a few minutes to do so. Thank you.
Yes, fantastic. Thank you, Lavinia. And yes, please, if you can indicate which challenge you want to work on. Thank you to those of you who are already indicating it. And we are capturing this information to do the grouping. We're going to wait for a couple more minutes, and then we're going to group everyone and send you over to breakout groups. If you find yourself in the wrong group, or if you find yourself without a group, we will adjust that as needed. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Let's give it a couple more minutes. Excellent. Thank you for those that are providing more than one option as well. That's also helpful. Fantastic. Let's see if we have everyone. Almost there. Data of the challenges brief us on the tools that we're going to use for today's and for the rest of the sessions as well. So over to you, Fabian.
You are muted, Fabian.
You're on mute, Fabian.
Yeah, we
Oh.
can't hear you. Sorry.
That was my fault.
No, it's okay.
All right. Yeah, just to give you a short introduction about the tools we want to use to collaborate. On the one hand, of course, we have Zoom here, where we stay in this plenary, where we basically have time to exchange in a bigger group, but also we work in breakouts. But to really get in a collaborative mode and not only be able to only talk, we decided to work with Miro, which is an interactive whiteboard tool. Some of you maybe already know it or have worked with similar tools. If not, it's not a problem. It's just I wanted to show you how this looks like, that you get a feeling of where we basically meet within the teams. And it's really easy to use, and your coaches and myself and also the whole team can support you if there are some technical issues. I just want to show it to you here. So that's basically the space where we meet. You can just find it by clicking on the link. I will post it in the chat soon. And so it's basically accessible for everyone by just clicking on the link in the chat. And as you can see, we have kind of an unlimited space here. And for each of the teams, we have a space. So we have a space for team A, a space for team B, and so on. And we will just now, as you just posted which challenge you have, sort out the teams, and then you will see in which team you are. And we basically just then meet. You can meet your team with the number you get and the letter you get, and then we start here also with day 1 and exercise 1. So you see, we kind of structured everything that it should be easy to work with. And just basically the only interactive thing you really need to know how to do is to write and to post small post-its or make marks there. And that's a really easy thing to do. So it's basically, we already have put some text, basically digital post-its here, and by double-clicking into some of them, you can basically then just write into. So that's the only interactive thing we really know. You also can just pull out a post-it note by clicking here on the left on this small icon, and then also just write into it. So you will have plenty of time to try this out later on. I just wanted to show it to you where we basically are and where we meet. And but if you have any questions later in the process of today, we of course can support you there. So that's my role for us, our space where we meet. Another, maybe start with, here. So as Sole already introduced, so this kind of methodology and also things we want to bring across in this workshop, collaboration is really key for that. And so we would encourage you to, be an active participant, as the whole setup is really depending on your input, as we wanted to make it really interactive. And for that, if possible, put the videos on, like we already said. And just a small remark, we saw that we have a lot of people from different countries and different organizations. So I think in this in the next few days, it would be great to really have a perspective of valuing different perspectives, because I think that's kind of one of the key things the takeaways of today is really to hear what others have to say. So yeah, I would encourage you, even if there are maybe totally different perspectives, take them on and reflect on them, and of course also discuss them. But I think that's a really great asset which we have here in the room. And make it your own. It's also about your spending time here. So we also will encourage you, if you have ideas or want to bring something in or change some things, then yeah, just make it your own and speak to your coach and to your team, and yeah, to make it a valuable experience for everyone. And we already heard that we have coaches supporting you. Hello again. So we already heard also from Lavinia. They will support you throughout the 3 days in the process, so that you are basically trying to also managing the timing and give you guidance. And here it's just important to know that this is really about someone who is supporting you in the process and in the timekeeping, and it's not a team member, let's say, or an expert, and also it's not there to take the decisions or anything. It's really about supporting you and giving you the space to work with your team on the challenge and to develop it further. Yeah, so if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask them and discuss them with the coach. But they're not team members, more like people who will guide you through the process. So I think, let me just see, shortly question to Gian. I think we are now coming close to the moment. We would like to see how the teams are going. Are you making progress in bringing the teams together, or do you still need some time?
Yes, we actually have a first draft, and also hello from my side to everyone. And yeah, especially thanks for the multiple options. So we have 6 groups now with 4 to 5 people. And yeah, Lavi was also setting up the breakout rooms. We can have a quick look. Yeah, just one quick question to Patricia. But yeah, we can also solve that in the chat, which group you would like to join. So there's going to be one group with 2 facilitators, and the rest of the groups with 1.
Yes. So thank you, Gian, for order the team. I think it was not an easy task, but it really looks good. And I think we also have more than 3 participants in each team. That's great. And yeah, so as I understood, it's just the question to all of you. If you see here basically, so the team A is on challenge 1. Maybe I just make it a bit more bigger here. So then you see challenge 1 is the low capacity and coordination of the extension providers. Challenge 2 is the knowledge management, and challenge 3 is the insufficient funds. And so you should now see your name here on one of these post-its and just check it.
That would be fantastic. Thank you. And welcome to this space of inspirational talk. As Fabian mentioned, we're now going to get more into the substance and content of what we're going to discuss here today. Besides the introductions and you getting familiarized with your group and your challenge. And for that, we couldn't think of a better way of doing that than bringing 2 amazing speakers that have inspired us as individuals in the time that we've been working on this journey on farmer extension services, but also supporting commodity work in our team. And so the first speaker that I'm going to introduce is Leif Petersen. Thank you, Leif. Leif was actually the first person that I worked with when I joined UNDP. And I have to say, Leif, as always, it's a pleasure to have you here today. Leif holds a vast experience across countries, across regions. And to me, it's always been incredibly inspiring to get to work with you over and over again. So thank you for taking the time to be here today. And yeah, if you want to introduce a bit what you've done. Also, Leif is a fantastic Spanish-speaking person. He's lived in Latin America for a very long time, so he could easily blend in, I think, as a Latino in our continent. If you can briefly, just share your experience, your role, and get us into what inspires you from working on farmer support. What should we know about your experience that could help in these coming days? Over to you.
Thank you, Sole. I think you have to say that you're raising the bar quite a lot and the expectations. So I hope I can live up to it. So when we talk about farm support systems, we're also talking about a lot of frustration. I'm sure you all agree with that. So my name is Leif Petersen. I've been working for many years in my career with UNDP. I also worked in the NGO certification community, I have about 20 years of experience with commodity production. I decided to share a little bit with you what makes me inspired, and then hopefully that will also help inspire you a little bit. So why not start with the inspiration I feel from farmers? Farmers are really the people I work for. So I have a boss in UNDP, but I really work for the farmers. Probably like yourselves, many working in international organizations, my work feels like I'm often far away from farmers. We spend a lot of time speaking to each other, frankly, in our daily work. And when we travel to the countries, we have meetings in government offices. But I really get energized when I visit farms. So when I started as a junior professional officer many years ago, my supervisor said, we have to go to the field at least once a month so we don't forget who we are working for. And I never forgot that. Of course, the problems are huge. Essentially, young people don't want to farm. And who can blame them? Often farming is a life in misery. And I'm struggling with a question. If we approached by a young person from a farming community who seeks our advice, if it would make sense for them to become a farmer, could we honestly recommend them to take up farming? I think it's a big problem for me because often I would have to say, maybe not. I would say though that there are always many ways to improve, and I do take comfort in that. I think for most farmers, it's true that life doesn't have to be as harsh and difficult like the ones of the parents or the grandparents in the families. So the goal for us is really to make farming a competitive and attractive livelihood options for the young generation. And people will vote with their feet. They will either get into farming or they will just leave the sector if it's not interesting enough. So this is not only a question of training, it's also a mental shift for farmers. So I remember a cocoa farmer I met many years ago in Peru. he was almost a professional participant in training programs, and every time he would receive a little gift like a new machete or something, and he had been flown from Cusco in the south of Peru to San Martin by USAID to receive training in how to manage his cocoa farm better. So we asked, can we see your farm? And it was terrible. So no pruning, monilla everywhere. And I'm just wondering if, clearly no change really, but maybe the projects reported him as a success, so and so many people trained, right? Which is often what projects are after. So more on the mental shift. This is a question. Why does a poor man not change a broken glass in his window? So I was asked this when I first started up, and I thought, well, maybe it's to the cost. No, it's not because of the cost. It's because people who are desperately poor often hesitate to change even things that they can control. Does it even matter to make small improvements if everything else is a misery? It's really, really hard for poor farmers to conclude, I deserve this. I can change my life for the better. This is what I call the apathy of poverty. And to get out of that, you have to make a switch. It certainly involves being inspired by peers and not by people in development projects. It involves having farmers commit to their own group for improvements. This is also the philosophy in the farmer field schools that focus on social dynamics and group commitment just as much as agriculture really. About farmer support systems, really in few countries I've seen provide comprehensive systems. Back in the 60s and 70s under the Green Revolution, companies invested in farm extension, but probably from 1980s and onwards, that kind of fell through. And today, few governments invest much. When I started 20 years ago, almost no companies provided technical assistance. Companies were just buying anonymous products on spec, 80 containers from Kenya or Ecuador or whatever. But now I found that over the years, most exporters and training companies actually do provide technical assistance. And I find some inspiration and hope in that. This was actually first driven by the private sector's support to farmers, was actually driven a lot by certification years ago when there was an emerging demand for certified products, but there was no supply. Later on, it also became a strategy for companies to secure products. And now with the new EU due diligence regulation, will almost certainly drive more integration of the supply chains, because we need to know the farmers better, the farms better, and then it also makes easier to provide technical assistance. And with increased focus on reduced deforestation, it means that we must improve production on existing lands. So what does farm support system look like nowadays? I would say if a comprehensive publicly funded system is not an option, but many governments do fund projects and programs, and we have donor-funded projects and programs, and we have company-funded activities, and we have NGO projects, and we have research organizations who are also active in the field. I would say rarely are these efforts coordinated, but I think there's a huge opportunity for hybrid systems. So what does that take in order to realize that potential? Of course, if nothing is coordinated, then there's a lot of gaps. There are a lot of gaps and a lot of overlap, right? That's inevitable. But that really needs people who can operate in this gray area, the overlapping space between governments and companies and growers and civil society and donors. And those people are people like us. We work in this gray space in the middle where we can integrate these different spheres of work and speak the language of these different constituencies. So that is really what inspires me to go on and work in this area. And I hope that we get much further in this workshop. So I'm going to stop here and say I'm happy to be able to participate. Thank you.
Thank you, Leif, so much. You haven't only lived up to the expectations, but surpassed them as always. So we will continue to invite you to these sessions and steal time from you every single time. Thank you so much. Such a powerful presentation or talk, especially because it comes from your lived experience. I think that's and very well articulated. Many comments on the chat referring to how people relate to what you were sharing, and some very important key messages, particularly around remember who do we work for and with, and bringing that to whatever it is that we do. So thank you so much. And we're going to move to another speaker. Thank you also for taking the time to be here, Cristiano Meneses, Head of Research and Livelihoods at Brazilian Agricultural Research Corporation, Embrapa. And we are also really looking forward to hearing from you, because we know that Brazil is one of the leading countries in terms of farmer extension services, experience, learnings, and you are both you and Janina working very closely in this topic. So very, very keen to hear from you. What inspires you? Yeah, how do you see Embrapa making this work a reality? So over to you.
Thank you very much, Solly. Thank you for inviting me for this workshop. It's a great pleasure to be with all of you here. I'm sure I will learn a lot with you during these 3 days. So today I will share a little bit of my own experience in my field area, in my research area, that is bee science, and how I contributed in our country to change the scenario about beekeeping with simple actions, which has reached many people nowadays. So I started working with bees 20 years ago. And for those who are not familiar with our native bees in Brazil and all tropical areas of the globe, we have these stingless bees that are bees that produce honey, but they don't have sting. And I know I for the first time knew them when I was already 20 years old, and I was very frustrated to be a Brazilian that don't know our own biodiversity. And from that moment on, I decided to not only study their biology and their management, but to make all Brazilians and all people who live in these places where they occur to know better these bees and manage them and help to conserve them, but also to use them for bringing economic possibilities for these people, but also to conserve our biodiversity. And after I became a bee scientist, I was very frustrated that I was working with the most the knowledge frontiers, but at the same time that we were discussing deep things in bee biology and bee management, most people were not able to know at least that we have these bees. So I started teaching people about their importance, about their management, about their biology. First, we started giving courses, beekeeping courses at Embrapa, and teaching people about them. But every month we were doing a course like this, but that was not enough. So the demand started to getting high, and we were not able to attend all these people. So we decided to go to the digital world and move recording all these teaching, trainings, programs, and sharing online freely for all these people. And that became a great success. So very quickly, many people were watching these movies, were learning from our classes, and very quickly we engaged many people in this activity. And something that was a very small activity 20 years ago, now it's a big boom. Many thousands of people are keeping bees at their homes as pets, or keeping them as a new business, and actually getting money from the forest, because bees are one of the best activities that you can have close to the forest without touching it. So it's a great pleasure now to see all these development. And during the COVID pandemics that we had, we launched a specific course of beekeeping in Embrapa. Was one of the first that we were launching, and more than 60,000 people were doing our course and improving this activity. And it became a very important, successful case at Embrapa. And after that, we launched many other courses teaching people about all the different possibilities in agriculture and sustainability in these areas. So I'm sharing here at the chat for those who want to know a little bit more about this. We call E Campo. Of course, it's in Portuguese, most of these trainings, because the public is Brazilian farmers. But I hope this can inspire you as well to go through these possibilities that the digital world enables us nowadays. So I thank you very much for this opportunity, and I hope we can share more in the deep discussions from now on.
Thank you so much, Cristiano. And I love how organically both Life and yourself have kind of combined so beautifully the power of the why we're doing what we do, and really connecting to the purpose, and how you bring in this really powerful sense of what's between us and changing the world through innovation is the belief of the possibility of doing so, and how something that can start small can actually grow into a massive project with a very significant impact. And that is what we're trying to convey here as well, you know, the creating a space where we can allow ourselves to think differently and dream of a project, an initiative, an activity. And why not allow ourselves to believe that that can grow as you did with this project. So thank you for sharing that reality, how innovation can become a reality. We are going to now take a very short, unfortunately, sorry for that, a short but much needed 5-minute break to stretch our legs, get a cup of tea or coffee or whatever you need. And we will ask you to keep your Zoom on, connected, so don't disconnect. Just stay connected, maybe turn off your camera, audio for 5 minutes. We are going to reconvene 38 to the hour, so that we can start promptly at 40 past the hour. Because we still have quite a lot of ground to cover and a short amount of time. So let's take a 5-minute break, and we will come back and get cracking on the challenge. Thank you. Around and ready, please. If you can turn on your camera to let us know that you are there. We are going to start promptly. As we said, we have a bit of ground to cover still, and the very exciting part of going into your breakout groups and starting to work on your challenges. So excellent. Thank you very much. And over to you, Fabian.
Thank you, Sole. Yes, so basically, yeah, now it's time to really work on the challenges, and we have kind of each day we have a short overview also about the methodology we want to use. And for today, our main method will be the root cause analysis, which is also called problem tree. So this is really about now, as you just started out with a challenge, and it might be a big challenge. It's always the case that in these challenges, there are some causes in there which might be easy to find, but maybe there are further causes. So if you look deeper into the challenge and into the topic, which influence each other. So this exercise is really about diving into the challenge, where each one of you in the team can now reflect on what do you think are the root causes of this, and what are also the effects in the whole context of this challenge. And your coach will guide you through this exercise, and this will be the last thing we do on this day one today. We now have 45 minutes for this exercise, and yeah, it's mainly also about exchanging and sharing your thoughts on the challenge ahead. So now, without further ado, I would just say, let's have a short break. Let's get started with the root cause analysis. And again, as you just experienced, we will meet on my row. I will shortly, if you need again the link, I will post it again in our chat. So there it is. And yeah, with that, I would say, Lavinia, would be great if you just could
the connections between the boxes already. It was just, it was impressive, actually.
Yeah, you're lucky you have Gian on your team. Excellent. So we have just a few minutes before we close. We have 3 minutes. It would be great, and I would love to invite you all to just share on the chat, what did you learn? What excited you about this 2.5-hour session? And in the meantime, also open the mic for anyone who would like to share as well, because it's nice to hear some voices in the plenary and not just in the groups. So who would like to share anything? We've got just a couple of minutes. Yes, Meg, please.
Sure.
Wonderful.
No, I just want to say a bigger appreciation for the diversity of people that's brought together here and the variety of the experiences here. One thing that made the group so interesting is just how different people's responses were to some of the prompts and questions, and it was fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, indeed. That is one of the key value added of this kind of spaces. So thank you for bringing our awareness to that. We've got some comments coming. Anything else that anyone would like to say out loud before we split our ways until tomorrow? So maybe just keep on sharing your comments on the chat so that we can capture how this day has impacted you. And Fabian, would you like to take the last minute to just share how we're going to continue tomorrow?
Yes. Basically, if you remember in our introduction, this was kind of the starting point in diving into the challenge today. And so also getting to know the team. And tomorrow we will shortly have a look at the target group also. So speaking about which people are involved in the challenge and in this context, and then going from there into a brainstorming based on the insights you already created today, and yeah, getting into exchanging on ideas and possibilities, how to approach the challenge in different ways. So that's it from my side. Thank you, everyone, for your participation for today. Maybe a short hint, if you already know that you can't take part tomorrow, please just put it in the chat so that we already know. We now hope that you enjoyed this workshop and also be part here today to support the team that you're also part of tomorrow session there. So thank you. That's for me. Back to you, Sole.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And with that, yeah, feel free to stay in and share your comments around what Fabian mentioned. If you're able to join or not join, ideally we would love for everyone to join so that we can continue these conversations in the groups. And if you have any questions or any comments, please feel free to also stay for a couple of more minutes and leave them on the chat. We are here to support this space, and we'll see you tomorrow.